My name is Taylor Hollinger, and my micronutrient presentation is on vitamin D. So the introduction to vitamin D is it is a fat-soluble vitamin that is naturally present in some foods, which vitamin D promotes calcium absorption within the body to help make the bones strong. So the recommendations for the RDAs for vitamin D are 0 to 12 months is going to be 400 international units. And then from 1 to 70 years old for both male and female will be 600, including women who are pregnant or lactating. It only goes up after a person is over 70 years old, which they then need 800 international units because they need to help. They have a higher chance of osteoporosis and problems with their bones later on in their life. So the major functions, like I had said before, was calcium absorption for strong bones, and it helps brain development, and it helps also to fight infections, not as much as calcium absorption in strong bones or the brain development, but it does help fight them just a little bit. And it also helps with cardiovascular function, so healthy breathing and strong lungs. Some of the food sources that you can find vitamin D in, there are a few foods that contain it naturally, which are fatty fish, which would include salmon and tuna, and then there are small amounts that are found in beef liver, cheese, and egg yolks. Most vitamin D in foods come from fortified foods, so breakfast cereal, milk, and yogurt, and orange juice that have been added the vitamin D within the food. A person can also take supplements, or the other source is sunlight. Your body makes vitamin D from the sunlight that you get from being outside. So a deficiency, when you have a vitamin D deficiency, it can cause rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults, which is just thin, soft, brittle bones, and they're weak, and they will break pretty easy. And some other things that it may cause is high blood pressure, depression, and autoimmune diseases that your body rejects that fights against the vitamin itself. So when you have a toxicity of vitamin D, it's just a buildup of calcium in your blood, which is called hypercalcemia. And you don't want too much calcium in your blood, or it'll stop the process of it'll stop the process of calcium phosphate doing its job within the bones from the blood to help keep it strong, and the blood also needs these nutrients to help keep the body functioning. So if you have too much of it, it'll stop the production of these things, and it'll also give you a poor appetite, which will cause some nausea and some kidney problems. And the best way to treat it is to just stop the excessive intake of vitamin D. And so if that's where you're taking more than you need in supplements, or or you're eating just a specific food the entire time, just stop taking the excessive amount and just do the amount needed for each day. So its main function in metabolism is to maintain calcium and phosphate levels in the blood that will help make the bone strong and not brittle. And it also helps with digestion and other body functions that that go along with other vitamins and minerals. So something interesting I found, and these are just a few facts that I had found. So we know that that vitamin D comes from the sun, as well as besides supplements and some foods. But it's interesting that the vitamin D produced from the sunlight cannot penetrate through glass. And so if you're in a car, you're not getting the vitamin D that the sun is on you. You're mainly just getting the heat. And 40% of the U.S. population is vitamin D deficient, and that's whether they are farther away from the equator, no sunlight, darker skin. Some of these things affect the way vitamin D is absorbed within the body. So it's interesting that some of the sunlight doesn't always give it to you if you're in something, or the farther away from the equator you're going to need more. And so a lot of people who live in a place where it's cloudy or rainy all the time, they are more likely to have a vitamin D deficiency. So the take-home message that I found while doing this was that you can get the right amount of vitamin D in your daily diet, as long as you are eating the balanced diet and the fortified stuff. The breakfast cereals and the fish, and really a balanced diet with the supplements if needed to maintain that vitamin D level in your body. And each time that you reach the right amount, you are also avoiding a deficiency, which is good and will help later on in life. So conclusion, a person needs, like I said, 600 international units of vitamin D each day. Vitamin D deficiency will cause bones to become soft and weak and easier to break. A healthy diet with the right food groups will make it easier to get these daily values. And when eating a balance of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should be able to eat the right amount of food for each nutrient and get the right amount of levels that you need for your body within each day. I hope during this presentation that you were able to learn just a little bit more about vitamin D and how it functions within the body.